Right, let's take a look at what goes on under the hood of this Iwata HPC Plus, because this is a precision piece of engineering here. Now first thing off, you'll see she's beautifully chromed. Yes, that makes her terribly sexy, but it is also there for an extremely important reason. The reason for that is that chrome is an exceptionally useful substance in protecting your brush from wear and tear. It's a substance which prevents things you don't want to stick from sticking to your brush, and also from any issues of corrosion. It costs Iwata a lot of money to do this, but it also means you have your brush for a long time in good condition. And that's what Iwata want. They want you to have their brushes for a long time, to love them and to be able to use them regularly as part of your hobby, job, however you choose to use your brush. So guys, let's take a wee look. I'm going to take and have a wee look here at the paint cup. Now first of all, we've got your lid for your paint cup, which I've said before in another video, but I'll say it again. It's expertly engineered to fit firmly every time, but never to be stiff on removal. And that works every single time. And that does take precision engineering, because I'm quite sure many of you who've used airbrushes before have come across either of those situations. It just doesn't happen here. So also, we'll take now and have a look. The cup is angled. Now that's for a very good reason. That allows the paint to flow into the nozzle cap without any disruption, without having to change angle or find anywhere to get stuck. But I want to take it that bit further. They take and they also angle the hole where the needle fits, so you've no place where paint can get clogged or jammed en route, and it's taking the smoothest flow straight into the nozzle and onto your piece of work. Now that in itself is an awful lot of engineering for one little piece, but it makes a very large difference in the running of an airbrush. Now we have our trigger mechanism here. This is a dual action airbrush, which means you have control over both the paint flow and the airflow from the button here. So you've your control there for your airflow. You'll see at the bottom you're getting your airflow valve moving there when you push down on your trigger. And you have your pull back, which allows you full control over the quantity of paint you're putting through your brush. At the back of the brush here, you have a controlled paint stop, which allows you, if you never want to have any issues of pulling back too far and releasing too much paint into your brush, you can control that. You'll see it coming through here on the cutaway, that you can control that, and that takes, when you pull back on the trigger, and stops it going back to a distance. So you can set that so you only ever pull back a certain amount. So if you're going to be working where you only wish to release a certain quantity of paint, you can set that stop guide to give you that extra control, so you know you're never going to put too much paint down. Right, let's take the back off for here. As you see, let's look under the hood. So we have our needle chucking nut here, which rotates it off beautifully. But also if you take a look here, the threading on that is very solid and wide, so you've no risks of those ever shredding or threading or having any issues of breakage on that. Now I'm going to remove the needle. I'm going to give you a tip for removing the needle. Always depress your trigger and pull it back, so your needle never has anything obstructing it while it's being removed. Now inside there where the needle fits, there's Teflon needle packing, which means that your needle never has anything scratching on it, so that your needle always has a smooth and gentle flow, because nothing sticks to Teflon. Right, what we have here is a spring guide, which one works to help you choose the tension that your trigger operates at, but also holds the internals of the brush in place. Again, you'll see the quality of the machining on the screw parts of that. That's very broad and solid. Iwata also copper coat their springs, so they're not at risk of corrosion. There, inside here. Now this is a very important little piece. This is called your auxiliary lever. Now in an awful lot of brushes this piece is separate. In the HP range this is attached to the needle chucking guide, and that makes for an awful lot easier removal and reinstallation of this piece. And believe you me, it's not the first time on another brush that I've dropped this piece and spent hours trying to find it. So that is an amazing adaptation that I'm very grateful to Iwata for putting on this brush. Right, move our way back along. The trigger again. This is a single piece trigger. Some triggers you may have come across are in two pieces joined together. This is one piece, so you've no awkwardness in putting your trigger in and out. It fits in nice and easily. You always know how it goes in, no problems. It also allows for nice smooth motion, it being on the little bevel. Right, over to our front end. We have our little cap here. The nice thing with the HPC is it's very upgradable also. It's very, the spare parts and additions are very easy to get a hold of. So this can be swapped for a crown cap if that's what you prefer to use. But you can also just remove that to allow your extreme close-up work as well. As well in the upgrades, you can upgrade to a 0.2 needle. This is a 0.3mm needle that comes with, but you can, if you choose, and we're going to be doing even finer detail, upgrade to that 0.2mm needle and matching cap and nozzle. So this is what your spanner's for. They give you your little spanner to work with, and it's barely needed. It's the slightest little tap just to loosen off that nozzle. And then it's using just your fingers to unwind. You need to give it a slightly bigger tap. There we go. Never put too much pressure down that. You only need, if you were to look at a clock face, pressure required from that is from noon to 1 o'clock. It's a minute amount of angle you put through that. So that puts through, and you'll be able to see there the tip of the brush without the nozzle on it. So you very, very rarely need it to take and do a full breakdown of it like this for cleaning. Most of the time your flush through of the cap will be sufficient to keep you going and keep it clean, and to run through with airbrush cleaner or your chosen substance. So let's start popping it back together. I'll take the nozzle and a gentle twist back into position. Never use too much force. Oops. I do have dexterity issues with my fingers, so it's a little bit harder for me to take a hold of, but it's still perfectly able for me to do. And yet again, once you've got that finger tight, just take, and no bigger turn than 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, because you don't want to put too much pressure down there. So I'm going to pop this cap back on, but I will leave the front cap off so that I can see where the needle comes out when I'm putting it back together. The first thing I wish to do here is to take and replace the trigger mechanism, which is as easy as that, and I'm going to move it forward into the housing, pointing towards the cup. Next thing I'm going to put in place is the needle chucking guide with the attached auxiliary lever, and I'm going to tip it forward, the auxiliary lever forward like that, scoop in and up into position. Now that's that in place. Oops, don't forget the spring to sit back on there, because that's the piece that keeps your lever tensioned nicely. Now, good firm twist back into place. Remember, you use this to choose how firm you wish the tension on your lever to be. And replace the needle chucking nut on gently, not taking it down. I'm going to go back here, and remember to push the trigger down and pull back so there's no obstructions, and gently but firmly push the needle through. Now we don't want to ram it through fully, we want to ram it, or take it just very gently, just if you see the tip of the needle, just till you see it come through, and just till you've got the slightest bit of resistance on it, and stop. At that point you can release the trigger and just give your end of your needle a slight tap and tighten your needle chucking nut. And there we go, and then we will replace the cutaway back to the brush. Make sure that your needle stop is retracted so that it doesn't block when you're putting your back piece back on. And then you can set that to however you wish to set it again. And there we go. Last piece we have to put on is our cap. And now we can see quite clearly that our needle is functioning and retracting fully and properly. Retract your needle and replace your cap, and release your needle again. So guys, I hope that's of help to you and allows you to see how to break down a brush for cleaning purposes, and to allow you to familiarise yourself with your brush. And see that spanner there? If you click on that, that'll take you to Iwata's own guide for maintaining and cleaning your brush. Come on, clicky there. It's a handy wee place to have a look. Check it out. Take on what I've said, take on what they've said, because just like a car, if you look after and maintain your brush well, it will run perfectly for you for years. So guys, hope this is of a help.